Hi everybody, this is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. I have a special request. One of my friends wanted me to record my chickens crowing. So this is... Okay, that is Ivory. He's my alpha male rooster. I have 3 roosters. And this little girl is Elvira. Oh, and by the way, I want to show you what the criminals did. You see all this mud here? See all this mud here? The reason this mud is here is because the criminals took up one of my mats. I have like a sizzle mat here. I have 2 of them side by side. So the criminals took up one of my mats so that it would be all muddy. But these are the kinds of little childish things they do, like this too. They recently cut the base of this tree stump that I've had here. And they did the same thing in Manalapan, New Jersey, in a house where I lived for 30 years, where suddenly there was some kind of fungus here, and I looked it up, and you know what this is called, these mushrooms? It's called dead man's toes. Dead man toes. So they have been cutting the base of all of my tree stumps. And no, it's not rotted. This is what they do. They intentionally damage things, so they slice this. But anyway, we're getting back to the rooster. Ivory. Ivory. Sing it, boy. Sing it. So we've got this little girl. She is sitting on eggs right there. I think she's got 4 or 5 eggs there. And then we've got our baby chicks here, and one of them is sitting under the mommy, underneath here. Do you hear him? Is he too much? So there's the mommy. This is Creamy. Creamy doesn't like to be disturbed. She does have the little runt baby sitting underneath her with the eggs. And the reason these eggs have not hatched is they don't really belong to her. I have a hen. I don't know where she went. She's probably over there. But I have a hen who she does not have the maternal instinct. So she lays eggs and makes the other hens sit on them for her. So this little girl here, Elvira, she belongs to Muffy. She belongs to Muffy Puffy. But Muffy did not hatch her eggs. Another hen did. And here are the babies. So here are the little baby chickies. There are 5 there. One sitting under the mommy right now, under Creamy. Right? Look how big you got. They got so big. I came into the coop a little while ago and they were gone. They jumped out of the box and they were running all over the place. So it's sort of like having a bunch of 2-year-olds where you're going to have to try to catch them. Now they're getting to an age where they can hop out and you can see their feathers are starting to come in, where like they usually have all this cute little fluff, but you could see feathers, like real feathers coming in on the wings. You could see there and there. And look at those cute little faces. Look how cute you are. Yes, look. And let's see if we can find the other critters. So this is my other rooster. This is Tucker Carlson. And yes, his name is Tucker Carlson. He's a handsome dude. And he doesn't back down. He speaks his mind, right? But he does get beat up by Ivory. And you can see, like, Ivory's been plucking out his feathers on the side. Is that, like, mean or what? So we had a lot of rain overnight. And my berries are starting to grow here, which is good. But the criminals, and I'll just keep calling them criminals because that's what they are. I was in my house most of the morning because it's just not nice out. And I was on the internet and reading mail, writing mail and stuff. So I go out to burn trash, and in this remote rural community, 9 cars drove by within 5 minutes. 9. That wouldn't even happen in New Jersey. But these people are so desperate. They're so desperate to get a photo or a gift card or harass me. Oh, there he goes. That there were 9 of them. And wait, here comes another one. Here comes one, the red car with the black windows. There goes one. I just call them criminals. You know, stalkers. I used to just call them stalkers. But now I just call them all criminals because that's what they are. So we're going to take a little walk here. I'm in kind of a lazy kind of mood today because the weather is bad. I can't cut the grass. It's totally soaking wet. We'll see, we'll visit Miss Kitty. Now, Miss Kitty was left here along with her 2 brothers. One of her brothers died, and the other one is in the cat's house. So here she is Miss Kitty. Say hi, everybody. There she is. She's so pretty. She does not like to go in the house. Every once in a while she'll go in if the weather is really bad, like and really cold, but she prefers to be outside. So now this is a portion that you haven't seen yet. So this is the back of the nonprofit building. So that's where the cats live, right there. And I'll show you some of their, their kind of their houses. A firefighter friend of mine in New Jersey built them for me when I had the cat colony who were living in the woods. And then, of course, I brought them here when I moved. But here they are. Some people think that they're rabbit hutches, but they're not. And the criminals have harmed these since I've been here. They have a penchant for picking at the knots in the wood. This is what they do. They pick at knots in the wood, and they want to make it appear as if it's naturally occurring. But they also, like I added this, but they removed all the insulation in this building, literally within a couple of weeks after it was delivered. And then I had to install new insulation here, which doesn't nearly fit as well as the original insulation. So this is the back of their building, and then that's the field where I was burning. But these are little buildings that the former owner built, including this building here. And this is the back of the creek. And if you hear that flopping, it's because I've got rubber boots on. I mean, when you live here, you have to wear boots all the time because everything is soaking wet. So here's the creek, which is very calm now. But you could see that it's overgrown. This city, this town, whatever, they never care for it. Oh, and you want to know the psychological operation that they've been performing on me? Well, since New Jersey, they like to use triangles and 3. Groups of 3 things. So that's the desensitization that they utilize with me, but it's also like Illuminati symbols, etc., etc. Now, when this bridge fell down last year, they didn't nearly fix it well enough, but they poured tons of useless gravel in the shape of a letter V right here. I don't know if I can show you how much useless gravel, and that's on my property, because anything after 15 feet from the middle of the road is trespassing. And it's hard to see because there's a lot of brush there. This has to get removed. But the criminals do this. Like, these trees don't crack naturally by themselves. I mean, trees do crack naturally. But they've only started to crack since I moved here. Isn't that amazing? That the former owner could have lived here for 30 years and none of this stuff happened in 30 years. But as soon as I move here, trees fall down, branches are snapping off all over the place. Water gets rerouted. The bridge falls down. It's just amazing. But here are my two little guys. They're hanging out in the back here. They're smart. They hang out away from everybody else. And there's Jesse and McKee. Say hi, boys. I won't bother you. I promise. I won't bother you. And we're just going for a walk. So we're going for a walk behind the buildings here. And also, the local neighbors, anytime I had somebody help me, every one of them performed some kind of vandalism or damage to the property. So I hired a guy, local guy. And now these are people that's supposed to know what they're doing with their tractors and stuff. He got his tractor stuck over here. And he had to hire somebody to get him out. But in the process, he completely changed the way the water flows here. It's taken 2 years to somewhat get this fixed, but this is the water. I mean, you can see it's a little bit low, but this was not like this when I moved here. But the water flows from the top of the hill, comes all the way down here, and then deposits at the main creek there. So this is the fire pit there where I was the other day. So I'm just on the other side of the fence right now. Maybe we can walk down there. Let's see if I want to hop over. Want to see my jumping skills? Let's see. Hopefully my camera won't fall in the water. We'll walk over the creek here since I can. There's not a lot of water here, but I can see a lot of brush that has fallen in here from when it was cut that I really do need to pick up here, because it starts to clog. It clogs the water, and that's not good. So we're going to walk over here. And yes, I can actually walk in here right now. So sorry for the delay here. I'm just doing like regular things that I do on a regular basis. And just taking you along with me. And yes, oh, you mentioned the GoPro. Well, I looked it up and it looks like a really cool little camera, but it costs about $500 without the stand and all that stuff. So I might have to put that on the back burner for now. I've got a lot of tree work and landscaping stuff to do here that's quite costly, you know, several $1,000s. So I might have to put the GoPro on the back burner for now. But let's see, we'll open up the gate here and let's talk about something really important too. On my video the other day, which turned into part 3, that was stopped by a criminal that was driving by, I wasn't able to recreate it exactly the way it was originally. I mean, we all know, I mean, unless we've got a script to read and write from, it's never going to be exactly the same. And I realized that I missed so much stuff. So many things that I said the first time that were so important that I didn't remember to say the second time. And one of the issues, and I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm starting to, because why not? It's the truth. The Manalapan Police Department in Manalapan, New Jersey, where I lived in the same house at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, for 30 years as the original owner, harassed me unmercifully for years. They falsified police reports, co-opted harassment and scripts with my neighbors, to then label me a terror threat while I'm walking on my own driveway. the new neighbor, or I should say the second new neighbor, because after Steve moved out after living next door for a year and moved across the street where he was still harassing me, the new neighbors that I call the Russian spies moved in, and they were performing the same weird behaviors as Steve did. They would follow me around my yard from theirs, always watching me, never smiling, never engaging in the type of behavior that new neighbors engage in. Not friendly, not cordial. The same thing when the female detective moved in diagonally across the street. That's the one who attempted to break in my house at 2 or 2:30 in the morning that I caught. She had a key to my new deadbolts, but she couldn't get in because the door was barricaded, which is a good thing. But I had been walking on my driveway to the mailbox to speak to a contractor that was working in my house that I now realize was set up as a perpetrator, co-opted in the harassment and in stealing $4,000 from me. Yes, he stole $4,000, clothing, items from my garage. But he called me out to the mailbox. He wanted to mention something, and he points to my neighbor, like staring over at me. And at this point, I didn't realize that this was a skit. You know, you become so traumatized with everything that's happening. Your normal day-to-day life just completely changes by these criminals that enter it and sabotage every aspect of it. It is absolutely amazing. As JFK said, monolithic. It's a monolithic conspiracy. But the billions of dollars that are being built from taxpayers to fund these programs against innocent citizens is just disgusting. So I go to talk to my contractor. He's pointing to my neighbor who just exits her house. And I look over at her, and she said something to me. I don't remember exactly what, and I think I said something like, I'm looking at you, like, what's the problem, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Oh, now I said something about how she damaged my property, and they did. They intentionally damaged my property. I sent them a letter asking them if they wanted me to repair it and bill them, or if they were going to repair it themselves. They sent me a nasty letter back. So after I mentioned to her about the property damage, she said, "Are you finished? Is there anything else you want to say before I call the police?" And I'm thinking, call the police? I was walking on my driveway. She was on her driveway. We have a couple of words that last, 2 minutes? And she actually does call the police. I say nothing else to her. Go in the house, and I'm thinking, this criminal is going to call the police. I'm going to be ready with my letter to her and their nasty response and give it to the police to show them that this is somebody that's been harassing me. Well, the police show up. I explain to them exactly what happened. And they are not interested in my side of the story. Zero interest. But when I walked out to them, I was carrying a digital recorder. New batteries that worked. I tested it in the house. I did a test. I played it back. I heard my voice. I'm carrying it in the palm of my hand. I go outside. There are 2 police officers, one of which I knew already. And I'll say his name is Reggie Grant. Because he was an officer who had
been at my house before, and then there was another one who I did not know. So the one who I did not know asked me, are you recording this? And I said yes, and I just continued to speak and show them my paper, my letter to the neighbor. I said, this neighbor has been harassing me since they moved in. I think they'd been there like 6, 7, 8 months, maybe 9 months. And then they go to the neighbor, take her report, and then that's it. I don't hear anything more from them. So I file an open public records for the incident report. Well, guess what, folks? I received the incident report, and there's absolutely no mention, zero, of the 2 letters that I provided the officers. And those letters demonstrated that that neighbor had not only trespassed my property, but performed damage to it. That was recorded, photographed. I had a letter, I had a nasty letter back from them, like a threatening letter. But none of that was included in the incident report. And in the incident report, where they have to write down like the codes or whatever, like whether it was a theft or, you know, car theft or burglary or something like that, they write down disorderly conduct and terror threat. So I read that, and that's about me walking on my own driveway, responding to the neighbor. Oh, and I have to add that the neighbor said that I cursed at her and her baby was in the car. False. I mean, unless her baby was in the trunk, unless she left her baby in the trunk. But no, I didn't curse at her. I completely, after we had those words, I ignored her and walked into my house. But she lied. She totally lied. The police accepted her false narrative and failed to include mine, anything of mine, including the letter I wrote and the threatening letter that I received back. But they wrote that I was a terror threat and I had disorderly conduct. Now, for anybody that knows me well, disorderly conduct is not something you would ever see me display. I'm pretty self-controlled. Not only is my mouth, though. My mouth can go off on a tangent. But no, my behavior is pretty well controlled. I'm a non-violent person. I'd rather laugh it off and poke fun at somebody and then get on YouTube or Facebook and talk about it. But no, so when I got the open public records request, I wrote a letter to the chief of police and Thomas Mantle, the lieutenant, who appears to be the person who reviews all these reports. And I negated what was stated, what the neighbor stated. I told them that it was a lie. I asked why my side of the story wasn't included, including my 2 letters. And I also asked them to explain the definition of disorderly conduct, what the code is. Please describe, what that means and the terror threat. They have been non-responsive for years. I requested that information when I still lived in New Jersey, which was 3 years ago. And then I requested it last year. I think it was last year. From Kentucky. They have been completely non-responsive. That's the Manalapan Police Department for you. And the chief of police, Michael Fountain, he resigned. Or I should say, I'm sorry, he retired. And they promoted somebody, the captain, into his position. He's been non-responsive also. And then Lieutenant Thomas Mantle, they promoted that creature too. Crime certainly does pay. But not all police are nasty like those two. Not all of them. There are some of them quite nice. They go along to get along, or they leave. There are a lot of nice, ethical police that are sick and tired of being sick and tired of what's going on in these departments. And they're leaving. They don't even care about those pensions. So there goes the criminal who just drove by just a few minutes ago. Red car, black windows. You can't see these people. They don't want you to know who they are. And in Kentucky, unlike New Jersey, they only have a license plate in back of the car. So, like, if they're coming towards you, that you don't see a license plate. There's only in back of the car. So anyway, folks, I'm going to end here. Maybe we'll just go for a little walk and see if what chickens are doing. But you can see that after the rain, I have so much overgrowth. It's impossible for me to maintain the property myself. It really is, because the weather here it just doesn't cooperate. It stays wet for a very long time because I'm on the edge of a national forest. So even in the hottest days, even when it's almost 100 degrees, when the temperature drops at night, there is literally moisture dripping off the buildings. You'll wake up and the grass is completely wet from the moisture and the humidity. So, yeah, so this is what the criminals did here too. So they picked the bark off of the base of this trunk, which was in perfect condition. You know, I sit on here, so they actually pulled this away, you can see. They sliced this. And once you start pulling and picking at the bark of the tree like this, it will eventually fall away. And they want to make it appear as if it's happening naturally, but this just happened over the weekends, literally. They did this. And then they did this one here. So they sliced this one away too. You see that? They sliced it here. They took a chunk out of that one over there. These are newer. And you probably hear ivory. Oh, I don't know if I showed you this. This is the bathtub that was left here. And I've got some strawberries growing here. In fact, I see some little strawberries here. There we go. We've got some strawberries in here. I'm going to have to come back and pick a few. Give some to the birdies. Let's see. Are they ready? They're really not ready to be picked. This one. There you go. And let's see what else we have here. So it's kind of fun to grow your own food. Yes, I can feed myself and the birds, the chickens. Oh, looks like some little critter actually got to this one already. So we'll give that to the chickens. They don't mind, they like bugs. So we'll take a few of these. So yeah, I've got strawberries in here and hosta, and I just planted like a little blackberry shrub. I might have to transplant that in the future because it's going to need more room, but I needed a place for it that was fertile. And you hear him? There's Ivory. He's got a big mouth. And I have somebody taking down a building here. I advertised if somebody wanted the wood, they could have it for free if they took down the building. So I've got that here today, which is good. So here, this is what the criminals did to this. They slice this here. This is the second slice. So this is the slow kill method, okay? So this was in perfect condition. The chickens sit on it, I sit on it. It's been here for a year, maybe a little longer. So they first sliced it behind here to cause it to, you can see, cause it to loosen and fall apart. And after they sliced this a few days later, they sliced it here. And this is not naturally occurring. And they also took the bark off. But where do you see it? Do you see any of the bark on the floor here? There's no bark on the floor here because they sliced it and took it with them. And this is the psychological aspect of this torture. The psychological aspect is this can't happen by itself. Not only can't it happen by itself, but if you start talking about it to people, they think like, this is a little weird. Like, this is a little too weird for me to understand. Like, why would somebody be doing that? And that's pretty much what a lot of the torture is like. Like, why does somebody burn 3 holes in your grass to create a triangle? Why does somebody drill 3 holes in the side of your chicken coop? Why does somebody use a staple gun and implants 8, 9 staples on the side of your building that you then have to pull out, which leave permanent holes? So this is the way they destroy property, a little at a time, with things that cannot be repaired. What they do cannot be repaired. It will never look the way it did originally. So here's Ivory. This is the Ivory. You want to say hi? Hello, big boy. You want to sing? You want to sing for everybody? And there's Tucker over there. And hey, girlie, Elvira. I named her Elvira because when she was born, she had this little bouffant hairdo. She still does, but there's a lot of it that's missing because, you know, when the roosters hop on top of her, they bite her head a lot. So she's lost some hair, but she's got this cute little muff on top of her head. So I called her Elvira because remember Elvira? She had that little, the long black hair, and then she had like a puff of hair on top of her head. But this is Tucker, my little handsome dude here. And there goes Ivory. But anyway, I'm going to end here, and I will continue this conversation in the future. I thank everybody for listening in and seeing a part of my world here in my life. And my rooster, who actually he screams all day long. I thought roosters only crowed in the morning. No. I was wrong. He crows all day long. And this is the area here where the criminals are driving by all day long, where I can see them. I need to be cutting a little bit more here so I can get better photos of them. Because in the wintertime, it's so easy to see them, but now with all this growth, it's more difficult to capture the criminals. But I hope everybody's having a good day. So this is where I live. This is my driveway. So that's my mailbox right there. So I have to walk all the way here just to get my mail, right? All the way down here. All the way down there. So yeah, it's 3 minutes. 3-minute walk. Right, girl? You want to say hi? Say hi. I'm Elvira. Do you like my hairdo? And yeah, she is wearing an apron because these roosters, you know, this is what roosters do. You know, they want to jump on the hens all day long. And unfortunately, they've got a claw on the back of their feet that it's quite sharp. and they can tear. Do you want one of these? Here. You want that? Here. Look. Look. Strawberry. Oh, yummy. Look. What the strawberry? I know you want me. No, you want my strawberries? You can't have my strawberries. I just gave you one. Here, look. Here. You don't want that? That's yummy. Yeah, that's delish. So, but what happens is the roosters tear off the feathers on their backs, and it exposes their skin, and sometimes the skin bleeds. It's really terrible. And you're supposed to have no more than no more than 1 rooster to 6 hens. I don't have that. I have 3 roosters and only 5 hens. And the reason is the criminals have stolen and killed some of my hens. And they actually even stole one of my roosters. So, I'm looking forward to these baby chicks growing up, and I'm praying that I have hens and no more roosters, because, roosters, like, I call them like they're serial rapists. That's what they do all day long. They crow and chase the hens and want to do it all day long. I've never known a man to be able to do that all day long. Mother roosters too. But anyway, before this turns into a PG movie, I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's having a good day, and I put a smile on your face, and I hope to talk to everybody soon. Bye for now.